How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Scarlet, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today we're going to be taking a look at some Pokemon news, leaks, rumors, everything in between. So let's get started with this post right here to start things off. Now, if you guys don't know what this is basically a tweet from, Central Leaks. Now, if you don't know what Central Leaks are, they're a kind of a website that is, well, in this case, they also aggregate leaks and stuff and posts. So they don't actually post their own leaks. It's just whatever leaks do come out, they share it. So they actually shared this, which is that PokemonSleep.com now redirects to the Pokemon Presents announcement. Now, of course, anybody can buy a domain, but this specific domain was bought specifically by the Pokemon Company, and rather a company that buys domains and handles the website for the Pokemon Company a long time ago. So we already know that they own it, which means, yes, it's redirecting specifically over here. It redirects directly to the Pokemon Presents page for tomorrow, because I'm recording this the day before the Pokemon Presents is happening, so keep that in mind. But also, we're going to be live on Ruffled Rowlet streaming this Presents, for those who do not know. We're most likely going to see ourselves a big announcement here for DLC, probably a mystery dungeon game, Pokemon Sleep most likely being finally revealed what it is. It's probably just a sleep monitor app, so nothing major. And then, of course, possibly a collection of old school games like from Gen 1 to Gen 3 being re-released and something along those lines. That's kind of what we're expecting from this, but we'll have to wait and see what actually crops up. So that's that for that regard for now. But yeah, Pokemon Sleep might be back on the table, boys, so we'll see what goes from there. Either way, next we have a little bit of a combination of some stuff. So first of all, Soul Silver Art, if you guys don't know him, Soul Silver is a leak analyst. He says, no one's cracked Ku's Scarlet and Violet DLC codename yet, but the most accepted answer is Sudachi. If true, it's the signature fruit of at least one DLC pack. Then it's possible that the third legendary could follow a green color scheme, like how Koraidon and Miraidon follow the Naranja and Uva colors, which is true, and yes, that makes sense. Again, if you look at, like, you know, what they look, and of course an apple would make sense next, you know what I mean? It would make total sense, and I could see definitely the third legendary being some sort of, you know, green lizard. So yeah, it makes total sense. He even says, I know Cyclizar already fills the green color in the role in the visible light spectrum, and in Koraidon and Miraidon's past and future connections, but who says we can't have two? Or I mean, this Pokemon could always be more of a fully crystal white color to connect it to Terrastall, which is true. Or, you know, it could be black and maybe yellow, which, yeah, that's also possible. All the ones that you see right there are possibilities. And of course, the most prominent ID, and he says this here as well, like a while back, you know, the most prominent ID was, of course, this right here, like, you know, Sudachi, you know, again, all this connects back to a very important thing, which is right here. I was shocked when I saw this in the league exam, and this is something that I mentioned a while back, but nobody really mentioned it. I didn't really know what it meant, but yeah, they have MANZANA Academy as one of the options when you do the quiz. You know what I mean? They had, like, in a weird way, they had like a, you know, that mentioned there. I was like, huh, that's got to be a hint for a DLC. Maybe it actually is, because if you translate it, it actually turns out that it means apple. And of course, we already have oranges and grapes for two of the games, apple for the DLC. So he says, I was shocked when I saw this in the league exam. Would Game Freak leave such a blatant tease? In my opinion, this could be a new signature fruit of the Scarlet Violet DLC / New Academy. Then I connected the golden apples to the third legendary, and it clicked. Red S, blue V, and then yellow golden apple. Fair enough. And he continues on. Either way, and Shake Weight Lover sent me even more connections to the golden apples in Greek mythology and traits of the third legendary. So again, a lot of connections there. He also says, alternatively, it could just easily be a green apple as the signature fruit of potentially new Scarlet and Violet DLC Academy, like red, blue, green. This would tie into Ku's codename riddle, possibly being Sudachi, which of course would connect to the apples, you know, or these fruits right here that are green. But yeah, again, it's interesting speculation, and of course, you know, it would be interesting if they filled in that last color, which would be the, you know, the Second Spanish Republic flag, fill it in with the yellow, I guess, to kind of complete it. We'll have to wait and see. You never know, but of course, it would make sense because it would be the off color of the original color, to say. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but either way, that's kind of some of the stuff we had to see there. I don't really think there's much else to mention in regards to this, so we're going to move on to the next thing, which is this post right here. This is shared to me by Shino, but this turns out that the Ball Guy account, I'm not sure which Ball Guy account this is. This might be the official one. I could be wrong, though. Again, don't take my word for this, but this one joined back in May of 2019. I think this might be the legitimate Ball Guy account, or this might be a fake one. I have no idea. No, this is the unofficial mascot of Galar. I'm not sure if this is actually a legit account, though, but either way, this account basically just tweeted out something along the lines of, there's still many unsolved mysteries in the Paldea region. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens if we reinvestigate the Great Hole in Paldea. Again, I don't know if this is, I don't think this is a legit account, but either way, just fun to see what these people are up to. And of course, these are the 3 elements that we don't know anything about yet, so we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. Next, though, we have a massive post from 4chan shared to us by Light88. So shout out to Light, by the way, on Twitter, but let's see what this is all about. Believe it or not, we are ready for Pokemon Day. In short, they announced all Game Boy games being released after the Direct. Usual stuff with mobile, new anime trailer with the opening playing while new protagonist is talking. It looks very polished and more mature. And the DLC. A sphere of crystals raised from the depths of the crater of Area Zero, and it shoots a beam around the region, hitting different Terra crystals that start glowing with dark auras, and create weird weather like during the end of the world or Shenron summoning or something. We get raids with Paradox Pokemon, and some have legendaries like genies or legendary dogs. Okay, okay, it actually sounds pretty interesting. Scenes change fast, and we see talking to history, we're seen talking to the history class teacher and Geta and stuff. We have to beat the raids and collect mystery fragments of the legendary Pokemon to summon it down at the top of Area Zero's crater, and we will battle against it in a raid. A dynamic scene sequence overall to not show anything without stopping the video. Scene change and start with Lumio City music remix, and we see Kalos in new form with wild Pokemon. We see school directors sending us for quests of representing Paldea as a champion in the Kalos and fetch Pokemon from that region. They show quick examples of new fashion we can wear. They show Sycamore welcoming us. He looks like a plastic doll. Then the champion woman comes and asks if we would like to take the gym challenge of Kalos Pokemon League. And we see dynamic shots of all the Kalos gyms and stuff. From what I noticed, Kalos is a copy-pasted Paldea with menu buildings and bigger roots. It's called Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Chapter 2. Listen, this sounds sick. It sounds amazing, but also sounds bullshit. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be honest, guys. This doesn't sound realistic to me. As much as I would want this to be real, as much as I would really want to say that this is the coolest idea ever, this is the most possible thing ever, I'm gonna be real, it just doesn't sound realistic enough. It just doesn't sound like, it just doesn't sound like it could even be real. It just sounds too far-fetched. So that's where I'm gonna kind of rest my case on this one. I personally don't think this is real. Again, I could be totally wrong, I could be totally out of the loop, but I personally will say I don't think this one is real. But then again, that's just me. So we move on to the next thing here, which is from Centro, who says we have the first official screenshot revealed for, of course, the Pokemon anime. It's where basically Jesse and James now in the final episode are going to have an episode where they're going to use all their old Pokemon. Every Pokemon they've had through all the regions and stuff, they're all coming back to them, and they're going to try to use all of them to capture Pikachu one final time, which is, it's going to be fun to see how that goes. So that's going to be one of the things. And for the most part, I think we've kind of gone through most of the stuff, most of the important stuff, I guess you could say, that was, you know, kind of had to be mentioned. I don't think we really missed anything, but remember, tomorrow is Pokemon Day. Tomorrow is the day when everything goes down. We're going to have ourselves a big reveal of all the new stuff. So, you know, let's just do a quick prediction, you know, talk right now. So personally, what I'm expecting to see tomorrow is most definitely these few things. Number one, Pokemon DLC. It's guaranteed more or less that it's going to happen. We know that it's going to happen. I personally expect there to be the DLC being split into 3 parts. Definitely one part of that DLC is going to take us into Area Zero. I think we're going to use that left side entrance that we never used in the original playthrough when we did the Way Home quest line, which is the post game. There is a left side door that has a blue entrance and a right side door that is a yellow entrance. We have to use the yellow one, but the left side one is not accessible. So I think that's the one we're going to use to access one part of the DLC. I think another part of the DLC is going to take us to an island based on any of the Spanish islands that exist that, you know, Spain has control of. And then, of course, a third DLC, or at least a combination of sorts, which is going to take us to kind of the southern part of Kalos and the northern part of Paldea of sorts, where we're going to find some Kalos-related Pokemon, and of course, just, you know, some connections to Kalos, but I don't think it's going to be called Kalos. I don't think they're even going to mention Kalos directly or anything, but they're going to make references to it or something along those lines. That's kind of where I'm going with the DLC. Second thing, though, is definitely got to be Mystery Dungeon. I think we're getting a new Mystery Dungeon. It's possibly going to be one of two things. Either a brand new Mystery Dungeon game with brand new Pokemon, all the Gen 7, Gen 8, Gen 9 Pokemon, or not all of them, but, you know, Pokemon from those generations being included, and possibly, you know, a brand new story and all that. Or option number 2 for Mystery Dungeon is a remake of the best-selling Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. And that would be Mystery Dungeon, I'm trying to remember what they're called again. Mystery Dungeon, oh boy, Mystery Dungeon, let's see, Mystery Dungeon, not Red Rescue Team, because that one was already made. Explorers of Sky, Explorers of Time, and Explorers of Darkness. So Explorers of Time and Explorers of Darkness are the best-selling Mystery Dungeon games of all time, and they're a double release, okay? They're a dual release, which would be so freaking smart of them to do right now, because they could sell double the copies, and especially because if they made a definitive version of it, which is what Pokemon Explorers of Sky was, it was the definitive version of those two games, it would sell like hotcakes, okay? It would sell so well, because those are the best-selling Mystery Dungeon games. So definitely Mystery Dungeon, either a remake of Mystery Dungeon, you know, like I mentioned, you heard the ones I mentioned, Mystery Dungeon, Explorers of Sky, or Mystery Dungeon, Explorers of Time and Explorers of Darkness. Either one of those, you know, either Explorers of Sky on its own, remade, or Explorers of Time and Darkness as a double release type thing. You know, I think definitely a remake is highly possible, because the last thing they released was also a remake, and that was also when Sword and Shield's DLC came out in the same year, and they were announced together. So keep that in mind. Very high possibility on that. Either way, the third thing that definitely is going to happen is Pokemon Sleep, most likely because of the website being confirmed. Now, with Pokemon Sleep, it's not going to be a big game. It's not going to be an important game. It's going to be anything. It's not going to be anything of massive value to you. Okay, I'm going to be honest right now. Pokemon Sleep is just a monitoring app. It's not going to be important. Okay, don't expect any gameplay. However, there is a different thing that definitely could happen, which I personally think could happen, is a Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color and Game Boy Regular re-release of those games. So Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, Pokemon Gold, Silver, Crystal, Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. All of those re-releasing, because now we know that the Nintendo Switch Online has the Game Boy Advanced emulator and the Game Boy emulator. So we know that those are in there, and they've already kind of hinted some stuff, you know, already to us, and it's highly possible we might see that. So those are the 4 big things. Anything else that might happen is going to be a massive surprise. I don't really know what else we could expect. Don't expect Gen 5 remakes. That's not going to happen this year. Highly unlikely. That's going to be next generation, which is going to be like a few years away from now. So don't expect that. But you could expect something possibly else to happen. Personally, I think if you're expecting Legends Johto or something like that, or any Johto game, that's probably next year. They might announce and say, we have another big project coming next year. They might do that because they've done that in the past when they have a big project, quotation marks on that. But, you know, when they say they have a big project, they can announce it a year or two ahead of time sometimes, but they never tell you what that big project is. So just keep that in mind, okay? But either way, those are the big guesses for me. Of course, I could be 1000% wrong, but I want to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. So thank you all for watching. I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Peace out and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.